The day Nigeria wakes up, Africa will never be the same again.
This is BVI Channel 1. You're welcome back on this platform where we tell you the raw, unadulterated truth. It is my commitment to ensure that I open up your eyes to see beyond your nose, to be able to dot the I's and cross the T's with a better understanding on what is happening around you, especially as it concerns governance. Now, as a follow-up with respect to the video I published yesterday, of which so many of you have watched and some of you are yet to watch it, concerning the plot to release Nnamdi Kanu. I have read through some of your comments, and also I want to, quickly respond to some of your concerns. First, I must say this, don't get it twisted. It is a win-win, not just for the Southeasterners if Nnamdi Kanu is released. It's a win-win for African people generally when it comes to the issue of manipulation of Africans against Africa, in terms of speaking up for their right and for their true freedom, not the kind of freedom that was handed over to them by their colonial masters, that is still having a hook on the neck of Africa, dragging them down towards penury and poverty. This video is going to reveal much more. But let me start with the conspiracy of United Nations. In all of this, you can attest to the fact that United Nations is being controlled by superpowers. And these superpowers are the same people that are holding Africa down. Now I want you to listen to this very record. And when I come back, you will now understand better what I'm about to bring to you.
We will not allow Sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep Sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap. Okay, so that's the message. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing Africans can do. Of course there is. Okay, but this is the opposition that they're fighting. This is what it's about. Because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay. I assure you that the West is not going to allow that without a big fight. Okay, so this is what it's fundamentally about. What I want to show you is how these structures are operating. It's just 20 minutes, so we can't do very much, but just to give you a little bit of an idea. And why I keep the ideology part there is because we are part of the producers of ideology. At universities and academic institutions, we are complicit in this whole enterprise. Okay, so the job of many Western academics is to convince Africans they have to keep doing what they're doing. Okay, and to show them it's your fault that you're poor. It's not our fault. It's your fault that you're poor. So this is what we do in academic institutions, and I want to show that as well.
Good. You heard it very clearly. Some of you, this is not the first time you are getting this kind of information, but this one is coming out of a conference recently held somewhere. You can hear the recording from like a meeting or like a enclosed conference by people who are determined to keep Africa down. And I must say this, the conspiracy of the West doesn't mean that you don't have Western people that are not committed to the injustice meted on Africa to ensure that Africa truly have and experience freedom. When we talk about some of these people, there are just very few number of people that are controlling world powers. There are very few. But Africa had become their cash cow. Now, how does it affect Nigerians? How does it relate to Nnamdi Kanu plot to be released? Some of you people who have responded and showed concern, saying that the position I took on that video might jeopardize the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I can tell you, they have already crossed the Rubicon. They have already crossed the line. They don't have any option than to release him. They have made it clear that he has no case to answer. You watched the video I published concerning the outcome of the court case yesterday. These whole charges that are being dropped, by the time he gets back to the Federal High Court, the case is over. And what you will hear next is his release. But I want you to see beyond the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I want you to see the handwriting of the superpowers in trying to keep African people down. I want you to see that. And how does it connect? Beginning with the intention to keep Africa down and the political revolution that is springing up in Nigeria with respect to 2023 general election. Some people think that it is about Nigeria. No, it is about the entire African people. To change the narrative, a new narrative is being brought into play. Some of you may think, oh, this man is consulting the whites and the rest of them, talking about the man P2B. No, get it. Politics is diplomatic. Both of them goes hand in hand. But you can be rest assured, when you are playing a game in a chess or in any game at all, you have to play your own role while your opponents have to play their own role. But the ultimate plan is conceal your intention, know your plan and strategy to win. And this time, it is a win for the whole of Africa. These superpower powers are not interested in Africa winning. And how does releasing of Nnamdi Kanu connect with all of this that I'm saying? Hear this. This narration of no election, this narration of people thinking that by shouting, protesting on the street, causing all manner of confusion, as you may call it, we give the freedom they desire. By shooting guns, the West knew very well. They sponsor so many of the bloodshed happening in Africa, Africans fighting against Africa, Africans pitching their tent against Africans. The West always sponsor those activities to keep Africa down, to keep Africa continuously dependent on their weaponry, while they milk Africa dry. With respect to the 2023 election, which is very vital for every one of you who cares to listen, to understand that they believe, I see the handwriting of the UN and the script being played out by Nigerian government to release Nnamdi Kanu, and believing that his agitation, the agitation is not the bad thing, but the process of the agitation, protest on the streets, shouting, we need Biafra, and at the end of the day, nothing will come out of it. At the end of the day, they believe that it will all end on the street without grabbing political power. And they are counting seriously on the mentality of the agitators, not just the Biafran agitators, but also the other agitators in Nigeria, saying they are not interested in political power. They are only interested in agitation on the street, protest, confrontation, and the rest of them. And they know the end result. Have you asked yourself, since all this while, there has been an agitation in Nigeria? The UN have not spoken up for the referendum the people are demanding for. But they are now focusing on the release of Nnamdi Kanu based on the fact which they all knew that the man has no case to answer. But they have not pronounced that a referendum must be delivered for these people, because that is exactly what the guy was agitating for. Ultimately, a referendum for the people. They are not talking about the referendum, but they are interested in releasing him, probably for the agitation to continue, the protest to continue, and through the back door, the same corrupt, recycled politicians the West depend on in Africa to make Africa dry, to make Africa impoverished, will be brought back to power. This has been the game plan ultimately all these years. Nnamdi Kanu may not be aware of this, but I am putting it up to him to take advantage of this opportunity that is already available to him to take on the political process. This is not the first time I'm saying this. I've had this issue and discussion with him in 2017, right inside Kuje prison, on channeling the agitation for independence or for self-determination through a political process. Grab power politically. When you grab power politically, that is exactly how you will start pushing, just like Malema is doing in South Africa. Look at the man Malema. Today he is in the parliament with his team, who have been elected to represent their people, carrying the agitation into the house. And that was how they were able to remove their former president.
Honorable Malema, I requested you to withdraw imputing what you imputed on the member.
I withdraw because I don't want you to chase me out. I want to vote a criminal out.
Take your seat, honorable member.
Yes, I did.
Withdraw that, honorable member.
I withdraw. I want to vote a crook out.
Honorable Malema, withdraw that.
It is the protest of this Malema that brought about the removal of the former president. And they continue agitating because they know that they are not just agitating against the government of South Africa, they are agitating of the subjugation of the West. If you understand this power play, if young African people understand this power play, they will all galvanize strength to grab power from the hands of these recycled, corrupt politicians holding them down in their different countries. Focus any agitation towards political emancipation of Africans. That is the only time African people can truly have freedom. That is the only time you can start saying that you really have achieved self-determination.
The day Nigeria wakes up, Africa will never be the same again.
The 2023 election is not just about Nigeria, rather, it is about Africa, African emancipation politically. And I believe all African nations are looking up to Nigeria for this emancipation. And they are depending on the attitude of Nigerian people towards the 2023 election. The release of Nnamdi Kanu, which is around the corner, expected to happen anytime soon. What I'm saying here will not truncate that process. The process is already in motion. This is a heads up for everyone. It will not truncate or slow down the political revolution I have been preaching for in Nigeria. The political revolution, the ballot revolution that I have been agitating and advocating for in Nigeria and across Africa. Get ready for it. Nigerian people, it doesn't matter whether you are from the east, north, west, and south. It doesn't matter whether you are a Biafran, Oduduwa, or Arewa. Get this message very clear. The 2023 election is about your freedom. Those who may not understand this, we say no. We want to continue agitating. We want to continue protesting. And ultimately, the same recycled old politicians, which is doing everything possible to make sure that millions of Nigerian people do not come together to vote them out. And when they succeed, we will return back to the same cycle, to the same hole where we have always been. And that is exactly the goal the West need Africa to be. It is our responsibility to say enough is enough. I'm just a voice to deliver this message. I've poured this message out. I believe you don't misunderstand it. I believe you understand it, and also share it to other people. It is not just about Nigeria. It is about the freedom of Africans from the subjugating Western powers. It is time for Africa to truly be independent. I'm Asuchelot Peters, the Archbishop, Good Governance Ministry, the voice of the people and the voice of our ancestors. Bye-bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Drop your comments. I want to have your opinion on this. Stay safe.